We've got a school over there. We've got a daycare centre right behind. So, would you send your kids to one of these schools?
If I had a choice, no. Absolutely not.
No, I definitely wouldn't. As Diane says, if I had a choice, I'd send them anywhere but here. It's absolutely a hotspot for pollution. You know, these toxic gases, we can't see them, but children playing in their playground, for example, you know, they are breathing them in all the time, every day. And they have young, vulnerable lungs.
Welcome to Brentford, where the A4 meets the M4 and creates 10 lanes of traffic, a moving carpet of steel and rubber, generating work and wealth. But it comes with a cost. Here's a children's daycare centre. Here's a primary school, a student hall, and family homes. They sit alongside the endless chain of cars and trucks, spewing out their fumes and noxious gases. The London death rate from air pollution is huge, like a packed jumbo jet crashing on Heathrow every 3 weeks. No survivors, and we let it continue, even getting worse, year after year after year. With its attractive waterways, Brentford is a haven for people and wildlife. But this summer, Hounslow Green Party installed air quality monitors to measure nitrogen dioxide. They showed levels dangerously above EU limits. This map shows the pollution hotspots as red squares. 60 to 80 on the nitrogen dioxide scale, far over the EU legal limit of 40, perhaps almost double that. The yellow squares mean it's 40 to 60, still over the legal limit. In this cluster of hotspots lie 2 schools, a primary school rated good and a daycare centre rated outstanding. Another hotspot was at the Ealing Road roundabout next to 2 hotels, terraced houses and new residential flats. But these figures don't show the worst of it. Data from the London Borough of Hounslow reveals that at peak times, rush hour and the start and end of the school day, toxic levels spike at nearly 5 times the legal limit.
The local people who live here are being exposed to extremely high levels of this toxic gas, nitrogen dioxide.
How much are they at risk?
Well, significantly at risk, because the nitrogen dioxide can cause asthma, it can cause heart disease, and it was responsible for over 6,000 premature deaths in London in 2010. It is significant, particularly for young children as well. The levels are much higher the lower down you get towards the ground. So young children in pushchairs are even more highly exposed. Developing asthma would be one. Their lung capacity is much lower. In fact, a lot of the children who are brought up in this where there are high levels of pollution have a lower lung capacity. I have a granddaughter who's 5 months old, and I wouldn't walk along this road with her with heavy traffic.
Do we want to live in a city with these high levels of pollution, including noise pollution, including the danger crossing the road? Or can we actually adjust our behaviour and start thinking differently?
What do you think our world will be like in 50 years' time?
Will our world as we see it now exist? I think there's going to be, one of the issues around climate change is that a lot of the developing countries are going to suffer, are already suffering more than we are here, and that has a knock-on effect on everybody. So we have to look at this globally. I think when we look at sort of refugee numbers, when we look at migration, we're going to see a very much more serious situation than we've got now in terms of developing countries and drought and flooding, basically, and war as a result of food shortage and resources shortages generally. So
Are
Are we doomed? No, we are not doomed. And in fact, we have to not have that decadent sense of we're doomed, and so let's just do whatever we feel like doing.
Diane, are we
I
doomed?
completely agree. No, we're not. No, I think there are enough people out there who are prepared to take action and persuade the governments to do something, to actually take action this
Have
time.
we not left it too late? We're going to suffer from not an avalanche but a cascade effect.
Well, if we don't do something about it very shortly, then it is, as Daniel said, nothing has been done about curbing the CO2 emissions. It's still on this upward trajectory.
We as human beings, we live on a short horizon because so many people say, I won't be here.
Exactly.
And how do we, and I mean that is actual, it's part of the way human beings are made.
Yes, and
that
it's
is all
human
right
nature.
saying, well, what about your grandchildren? And they sort of say,
no,
well,
but that's a very important point. What about your grandchildren? And in fact, that is how us as middle-aged people, etc., should be thinking. We should be thinking about future generations. We should be looking in a very moral way. Yes, but I think, as Diane says, there is a new sort of moral climate happening. There's people are beginning to think more responsibly, and there needs to be just much more of that. And we need to just get that out there and start thinking about children.
You arrive on your bikes or by foot. You use public transport. Are you not the exceptions? Whereas looking around here, there's cars up there pouring away.
Absolutely.
They're not. A lot of those could actually be on foot or on bikes or using public transport, but they're not.
No, quite agree.
So until we you create an absolute wave of feeling and make it more a mass movement, whereas at the moment the climate change movement, I call it that, isn't a mass movement.
It's not a mass movement, and you're absolutely right. Things seem to be going in the wrong direction rather than the right direction in many ways in terms of car use, certainly. But that doesn't mean that we stop. It doesn't mean that we say, oh well, it's over. We can't behave like that. Even if it is over, we have to have principles, and we have to try our best for future generations. We have to do it. That's a moral position that in good faith, that we have to take.
Isn't it better to say we face an apocalypse unless we do something?
Better to say? You mean,
for instance, London in 70 years' time, a larger part will be suffering from flooding.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's right.
I'm planning to move quite soon, and I'm seriously thinking of moving up a hill because I'm concerned about the flooding and the value, the risk of being flooded in the future. I think it's definitely a strong possibility. I couldn't agree more. In terms of apocalypse, I agree. I think people should be aware of it. But on the other hand, if you strike too much fear into them, then again, they don't take any action.
You have to be left-wing in order to be an environmentalist.
Okay, well, the Green Party has positioned itself to the left of centre. However, I would also say that the Green Party is quite a broad church, so we do have quite a broad spectrum of people within the Green Party who are there for the environmental side of it. We are inclusive. We are aware that there will be quite a lot of differences within the party. We are aware that that is the way forward. So yes, I would not pretend that the Green Party is open and accepting to right-wing values, but on the other hand, I would say we're certainly not a hard left party. It's very inclusive.
But where there is proportional representation, as in London, last time round 10% of people voted Green, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if in the next elections that number was quite a bit higher.